We're going to jump into the things we forgot to tell you last week, right? This is a special segment to me. It's basically me telling you all the stuff that I forgot to tell you last week. And we got some interesting stories to start off with. The first one being, shit at the dollar store don't cost $1 no more. Who'd have thunk it? You know, what's going on? That's a horrible thing to hear. The dollars, like, you have to rebrand. If things at the dollar store no longer cost $1, you got to rebrand. You got to call yourself a dollar and some change. Like, you got to call yourself something else. But apparently, prices at the dollar store have been, for the last 35 years, increasing, and it's causing a major disruption because, for all you don't know, dollar stores are usually the only grocery store, the grocery store, if you want to call it that, within some of these communities. And these are what communities that we call grocery store poor, because, or food deserts, because they don't have a form of fresh produce that can be shipped reliably throughout the week. This is also another, because if you think of the people who use these things, it's going to be people in poverty. So why can't we find a way of making sure that the most impoverished and the most unable bodies in the community don't have a way out from experiencing this poverty? It's really sad, but it's something to note. And just to tell the tapes, like, if inflation is really that bad, why is the dollar store the first place to experience it? You know? Oh, that's right, because it's, you know, poor people, and hurting poor people is a lot easier than anything else. Before I show this, I don't know if I should show this video, but this is wild. Widowed released video of Chad Reed's fatal shooting in South Lubbock. For all y'all that don't know, I went to Lubbock, Texas Tech, the bucket as we called it. So this was like, this could only happen in the bucket or Florida, one of the two. But basically, the gist of the story is, and this is so many things missed in one, but it's definitely going to be stand your ground law, the castle doctrine. It's going to be white male fragility, white privilege, and also gun privilege. Because I often tell people this over and over again. When we rank the hierarchy of privilege, I think guns rank above white people, because people love guns to an extent that is almost unhealthy. But the gist of this story is, there's a court-ordered agreement, and that's the reason why it's super strange, and y'all hear this at the end. A court-ordered agreement where the father, who is in green, teal, that's him. Okay, this is a better picture of it. But that's the guy in the green shirt. That's the father. That's the baby mama. And that's the new boyfriend. And if you see right here, the boyfriend has a gun, a shotgun to be exact, and he's pressing his luck. Now, the father was coming to pick up his son as agreed upon, but the baby mama left out an important detail as she was at the boyfriend's house. The son wasn't there. Something she could have told the father miles before, but this is the wickedness of certain people. She set this, like, this is, in my eyes, this is murder, because she planned this. She knew the son wasn't there. The father had been contacting her. She could have easily told the father the son wasn't there. And what proceeds to happen is the sugar daddy, the new boo, kills the father. And there's just so many things wrong here. And as I normally don't like to talk about white people problems, this shit struck me as weird, because the guy in black has not been arrested yet. So let's just see this. He tells him to get off the property. He goes to go get his gun. Where's my son?
I'll go get him. I'm supposed to have him at 3:15. And you're playing games telling me that I can pick him up at 6? I'm going to have the cops. I've already got the cops on the way to your mom's house. Because that's probably where he is. It's not when I'm done working. I get him at 3:15. I get him at 3:15. I don't care if you wanted to see him or not. I get him at 3:15. If you want to see him, you see him up until 3:15.
And can we just use this as a platform right now to say, yo, stop. Be careful who you put your dick in, right? Like, this looks miserable. Who would ever want to deal with this nonsense? It's not worth it. Can we just all agree to, like, man, if there are flaws in the relationship prior to y'all having a child is never gonna fix it.
You keep trying to keep my son from me. I'm fixing to drag you and Anne-Marie and everybody else into court. I'm subpoenaing your mom. I'm subpoenaing Anne-Marie. This is on video. I'm very I am. Please do it. Right you better fucking use it, motherfucker. Because goddamn it, I'll take it from you and fucking use it on video.
Call the police.
It's already too late.
Where's my son?
Call 911. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911. I have it on video, Kyle. You did it, not him.
I told all of y'all to leave.
We came to get his son.
He's not here.
She should have told that. She should have told that.
None of y'all should be here. None of
These male warriors really do be stressing me, but like, I don't mean to laugh, but this is definitely the best villain origin story ever, right? Like, this kid is going to grow up to become like some Punisher-like individual who goes around killing stepdads, right? Like, and not just any stepdads, like any type of child abuser, right? He's just gonna go around on July 15th, you promised to pick little Rosie up from the ice rink and you were 15 minutes late. What will be your repentance? And he's gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? And he just starts breaking fingers. And he's like, for every finger I break, it'll take you exactly 1 year to gain your handwriting skill back. And he's like, okay. It's just, and people are probably sitting there like, oh my God, what about, he only has 10 fingers. What are you going to do for that fight? He then starts breaking his toes. Like, this is a villain origin story if I've ever seen one. There's no way in hell you about to kill my dad, then tuck me in at night. It's not happening, bro. For the rest of your days, you better sleep with one eye open in that house. As long as I'm in that, until I'm 18, you ain't smashing my mom's, you ain't coming near my sister. Fuck all that. Every morning is blows. Like, hey, good morning, little Timmy. How was your day? Blows, fights every day. How are you going to explain this? You killed my father, and you knew he was coming there specifically to get me, and I wasn't there. And you could have easily just said, like, he went into the house to go get his gun. The police had already been called. So, like, this is just a blatant abuse of power. But and it's a great experiment because, like I said, real change doesn't come till white people have problems with it, right? So, like, you just, unfortunately, just a bunch of white people just have to keep getting killed or shot by guns, and things will eventually change, at least faster. But, like, this brings up a lot of questions. Did he feel like he was really a threat when he got there? I don't think so. He was obviously frustrated that his son wasn't there when he was supposed to pick him up at 3:15. I'm assuming it's not 3:15. And then to be told that the child is at another location that sounds like it will take him 3 more hours to get there, since he wouldn't be able to get him till 6 o'clock. The thing that's crazy to me is, okay, so he goes in the house and gets the gun. When you go, and this type of stuff has already been like disproven. If you went into your house and secured yourself in your house, and he's not forcibly trying to get into the house, you can't plead self-defense at that point, I don't think. Well, it's to be debated, but I don't think that's a plausible information. That's the equivalent of me saying someone threatened me on the outside of my car, and I felt threatened, so I went in my car. I left my car to go into my trunk and get a tire iron. You should have just stayed in your car and drove off if you felt threatened. So I'm super interested to see what this is. But this dude just literally killed his villain origin story for sure. And this is just the image of them. Like, guys, just let this picture marinate, guys. He's never going to be able to kiss his son goodnight. He's never going to see his son throw a game-winning touchdown. He's never going to see his son do anything because of his pride. Your pride is the, what did T.I. say? Something about your pride, it'll be the way it gets shot down any day. White privilege does not trump gun privilege. Lesson learned. A lighter tone. There's something interesting. Like, we don't get to talk about Donald Trump that much, you know? I enjoy talking about my boy Donnie, but, you know, he's not on Twitter, so he's not that interesting. He's not on Twitter, so he's not that interesting. But recently, the man-child that is Donald Trump, Agent Orange, recently became honorary Taekwondo black belt. Like, they just gave him a black belt, basically. And it's crazy to me that, like, it's the fact that he got the belt isn't the funny part to me. The fact is, the things that you see in his office upon closer inspection is the interesting part to me. One, the first thing is, why did he put the gi that he got over his suit? Like, that's weird. And why didn't he put on the pants? So he has a suit on with the pants, and furthermore, did they make the gi that much bigger because they knew this is what he was going to do? In addition, as circled, he has a statue of Mount Rushmore, which is easily one of the worst sculptures in the world, but his face is added to it. And I am saying this. Why? Like, why? Why did he feel the need to add his face to it? This was actually given to him. I think Mount Rushmore's in, like, where's Mount Rushmore at? I think Mount Rushmore is, hold on, I know this. I'm going to say Montana. Because what else is in Montana if not Mount Rushmore? Or probably one of the Dakotas. It's probably like North Dakota. Let's see. I don't care. It's a bad sculpture. Second, why is there a MAGA hat on top of law books? Law books that you know he has never read. There's so many things wrong with this picture. But we get to talk about Donnie. And you know what? Oh, need I forget? Up here in this picture, that's Kim Jong-un, right? In the top right, next under the M. That's Kim Jong-un. Why does he have a picture with him and a dictator? Like, there's so many things wrong with this picture. But it's Donald Trump. What do you expect? He's a narcissist, and this is proof of it. He's the worst type of Karate Kid. A racist one. Oh yeah, I like this story. I like this story so much that I'm going to allow this to actually pass. Get rid of some of this dead weight. In Istanbul, which is a country somewhere I don't know, there's a local dog being framed for pooping on a train. So apparently, there's this famous stray dog in Istanbul who, and this is the story right here, which is kind of crazy. And his name is Boji. And, oh no, uh-oh. Y'all doing too much. I just want it. All right, just give me an image of the dog at this point. But the dog's name is Bougie or something like that. Yeah, this is the dog. All right, cool. And the dog basically is like, he travels on trains and stuff like that. And he's like super popular. He hates cats. He's just an all-around good boy. But he's been tagged, as you can see, by the government in his top right ear. And basically, he's just well loved, and all the tourists, the people feed him. He's just all around good boy, and people think like he brings good luck to your restaurant. So if he shows up to your restaurant, it brings it's no, it doesn't bring good luck. It's just that tourists are always looking for him. That's why they put a tracker in his ear so they can always find him. But tourists are always looking for him, and obviously if he shows up to your restaurant, people will show up and then they'll eat there. So people love this dog. But basically in this picture over here, there's a man who's planting poop on the train because this dog is allowed to just get on trains and ferries, and he travels throughout the whole city without any issue. So this guy planted it, and it's believed to have been done by a political party. It's super stupid, but after spending a week with half a week with the dog, Rowan, I've gained a certain appreciation, but also a complete utter disgust for poorly trained dogs. Bad Rowan, and shame on her father and mother for not training her appropriately. Spoiled brat. But yeah, we like trained dogs over here. I just want to talk about this. So Mr. Beast versus Netflix and the Squid Game reaction gets completely roasted on Twitter. So I don't know anything about Mr. Beast. Let me just say this up front. I know that he's an extremely popular YouTuber, and his thing is basically paying people a lot of money to do crazy things. And I was just like, and that's just the extent of Mr. Beast that I know. But for some strange reason, like, he's now found a way to get him, and he's trying to make this about him. But I want to further explain why YouTube and all these other platforms are just full of themselves and don't really know their audience. Mr. Beast is a white dude, or however you want to perceive him, who took a very famous South Korean film that took 10 years to make and 10 long, hard years to make, because most of those years were spent trying to get a fully Korean cast, enough money and support to get their status symbol to the point where someone would make this movie for them. And they finally got the cast and crew, their blood, sweat, and tears. They put it out there. It's Netflix's biggest show, and this white dude shows up out of nowhere, steals the exact idea word for word, and gets more views and better viewerships with and it's just, to me, that's just the thing I saw immediately. I was like, a white dude sees something that someone else worked hard to do, copies it, and gets more publicity for it. Sounds about white. Like, in my mind, that's just what it went to. But this does say a lot about the authentic, like, as a person who makes content on YouTube, I have to acknowledge his ability to do this because I make content on YouTube. So that means one day I could probably do what he just did. But the fact is, not when the algorithm has a systemic bias to it. Like, content creators are pushed to Mr. Beast 110% more than they'll be pushed to me. Rightfully so. He brings a bigger audience and a bigger crowd. But should that be the standard for everything? Like, it really begs the question. I didn't really know how to feel about this, except for the fact is that if I made a video and Mr. Beast copied it word for word, Mr. Beast would get higher viewership for it. And you see this a lot on TikTok. A black creator will create a dance on TikTok. One of the D'Amelio twins will do it, and that's when it becomes popular, with no credit being paid to it. So should Mr. Beast have to pay credit to the people he stole the idea from? Maybe. But ultimately, that's what just makes me think that this is a crummy situation. And once again, no hate to Mr. Beast or anything like that. It's just a situation that makes me say, what the fuck is that? This is really a non-factor for me because as much as I like Twitter, I don't use it as much. I use Twitter a lot more for research, which sounds strange, but it's a great resource, and you'll find out later, for getting immediate information uncensored. Twitter CTO, Para Arguala, I don't know how to say this, hold on. Somebody say this name. We got to respect him.
Paraga Growl.
Paraga Arguel will replace Jack Dorsey as CEO, which is cool. This is Jack Dorsey. There's been a bunch of beef and stuff like that has been going on with Jack Dorsey. They've been trying to remove Jack Dorsey for so long from the Twitter front line, but it just hasn't worked in their favor. But he's now just stepping down and letting other people take over, and I think that's a good idea for them. Ahmaud Arbery got partial justice, and a lot of people keep asking me, why do you say Ahmaud Arbery got partial justice? And the reason why I say Ahmaud Arbery got partial justice is because everyone involved with hurting Ahmaud Arbery isn't behind bars. We might have got the McMichaels. We might have gotten the Bill dude, but we didn't get, and we just now got the arrest for the DA, for the district attorney, who withheld information for 72 days so that the McMichaels didn't get arrested. But dare I say, we want some more. We want some more. When she recused herself and passed it to the neighboring county district attorney, and that district attorney wrote a 2-page letter explaining to the Brunswick officers why they shouldn't arrest Ahmaud Arbery's killers, murderers, he needs to be in jail too. As for all the flack that they give people like Sean King and all those people, without him and people like Lee and the Crumps and all of the worlds and the Al Sharptons and shit like that, Ahmaud Arbery doesn't see any justice. He got partial justice. There's still a group of people, and there's something even being drummed up about the DA that was arrested on Friday having a history of hiding crimes that police officers do, and that someone who murdered a woman got off. So by default, investigate all her shit. But I wanted you guys to hear the defense in their final prosecution, in their final statements this is their closing statements about Ahmaud Arbery, a man who was murdered by her clients.
Single piece of evidence that's been presented to you in this entire trial supports such a hateful and gruesome set of circumstances. Turning Ahmaud Arbery into a victim after the choices that he made does not reflect the reality of what brought Ahmaud Arbery to Satilla Shores in his khaki shorts with no socks to cover his long, dirty toenails. There were 2 sets of decision makers on February 23rd.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's the camera guy. The camera guy makes an audible wow. I'm gonna just play back and look at the McMichaels. Look at the McMichaels' face. That's the face of a person who's regretting having this woman represent them. Like this is what racism, like this is the face of someone regretting having a dumb person represent them for being racist.
There were 2 sets of decision makers on February 23rd. There were 2 with no socks to cover his long, dirty toenails. There were 2
They know they fucked.
of decision makers on February 23rd.
They know they fucked.
It is not just the McMichaels' decisions that led to this tragedy. And it is...
She said that and tried to keep a straight face. Like, she just didn't say a deceased person's toenails was the reason why he justified him being shot. Anyway, they're going to jail because the minimum sentence is life behind bars with no parole. So, 3 less racists on the street, a whole lot more to go. I think I haven't heard much about this, but it's kind of interesting to me. In Europe right now, because of the threat of more lockdowns, there's a bunch of riots going on to stop the lockdown, which is counterproductive because you want to be able to say that you can't have it both ways. Either get the shot or stay the fuck home. For you not to get the shot and then try and come out, this is going to happen because keeping the economy open and going is more important than your feelings. And the sooner The sooner the non-vaccinated people realize that, the better off we'll all be. But I just found this to be strange. They're setting shit on fire. And this is like all over the UK. So it's like Austria, Netherlands, the UK, Germany, Italy. They're all experiencing spikes right now. And it's really just because of poor vaccination grounding, which is partially the government's fault, but also partially the people's fault. Because if you want to get back to normal, do the things you need to do to get back to normal, right? Stop trying to usurp the system. There's no way around it. We're living with COVID for the rest of our lives, so might as well get in tune with what needs to be done, right? This is an interesting story. So, like a few weeks ago, we talked about this. I have another block on this. A few weeks ago, we talked about this in Dallas. Like last month almost, QAnon came to Dallas because JFK was going to be resurrected. JFK Jr. was going to be resurrected, and it was going to be announced. Okay, time out. Wait. My guy, what are you doing here? My guy, what are you doing here? What are you doing here, my guy? Oh, wait, you got friends. Oh, you got a couple people. Black people, stop doing this. If you're a black person and you don't have no friends that bad, if you hurting that bad, come, I'll be your friend. Come to the identity booth. You don't have to do this. Out here giving white people an excuse to say it's just not all crazy white people. But basically the dude who's running this, and he's like, I think his name's like negative something. He's basically tricked people into a death cult, and he's brought up the police need to stop this before it becomes bad. This is clear that they're, for all you guys that know what the Waco situation is, go look it up. He's talking about making a Waco situation. That's what he's talking about right now. And the fact that the police haven't jumped on this or tried to stop this is madness. Like there's a woman who's left her two children and her husband and put all her money into this. And it's just crazy that they haven't left. And Dallas needs to really, Waco's only an hour away. Dallas really needs to figure out what they're going to do about the situation before it gets out of control. Because these people are crazy. Some interesting tidbit facts that I like to throw in people's face. Yeah, Jim Jones, exactly. Keisha know. The architects of the Capitol outline a $30 million damage report from the Trump riots. And I found this to be fascinating because January 6th was an extremely dangerous and aggressive and abusive and violent thing that happened on a large scale. What's crazy to me is the Black Lives Matter protests were overwhelmingly peaceful. Our research shows by the Harvard Radcliffe Institute. This is peer-reviewed in the 50 states that happened. There was 7,305 events, of which 96% of them were peaceful, which basically equated to less damage. Now, there is another article, because, I'm fair and balanced here, that talks about how the insurance claims were astronomical. Well, insurance claims don't dictate payouts. You could pay high premiums all you want. That doesn't mean you receive damage to your property. Overall, the damage that could be equated would be less than $30 million. But just put that into context. In 8 hours of rioting by white supremacists at the Capitol, $30 million of damage was done. In a whole entire summer, with 7,300 plus protests, less than $3 million were done. Now, $2 billion premium plan does make a lot more sense, but hey, insurance is there to protect you from losing your assets. I just thought that was interesting and something I can throw in the face of Trump supporters while I'm at my lunch break. Profile for fashion designer Prolific fashion designer Virgil Abloh. Ooh, I feel like I should know how to say this name. He's one of my people. Wait, I don't want to print this. Say it with me.
Abloh.
Abloh. Oh, Virgil Abloh. Okay. Prolific fashion designer Virgil Abloh dies at 41. This man was an extremely hard worker from what I could read about him. I'm not big into fashion. I know people are going to talk about this. The part that just really made me touch is just like he died of a very rare cancer. He had a private battle with cancer. We lost him at 41. It's just as a creator, it makes me say like, man, I hope I can be celebrated for my work. Like he'll go down in history for being celebrated for his work. You love to see it. You're happy to see it, but there's a part of me that says I wish you could be there for his celebration. Men's health is so important. Pre-screen, check out. I'm going to use this time to just say to my fellow men out there, go get checked up. Get your shots, get your vitamins, get your whatever, because your people need you. Your people need you. And if Chadwick Boseman has taught us anything, filling those gaps are hard to do. Disney don't know what the fuck to do. They was gonna have Shuri take over Black Panther. Her non-vaccinated ass is too crazy. And then there's a part of the population that says, why should we not have a Black Panther? Recast him. When Heath Ledger died, y'all made sure to make sure there was another crazy white person to replace him. Y'all got 3 since he died. Finding strong black male examples are very hard to do. So what the ones we got, we want to keep them. Because Chadwick Boseman's gone for a few years now. And they still trying to figure out, do they want to replace him in a movie? It shouldn't be a question. They should. But the fact that they're not says a lot more about how they want to control the narrative. But not to bury the lead here. Condolence goes to the Virgil family, and Godspeed. I can only he designed for people's clothing that I'll never be able to wear appropriately or in my size. So kudos to him. Matthew McConaughey wants to become the governor of Texas, and there's a part of me that says, let him, but slow your roll. He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. He's reconsidered. Matthew McConaughey. Whoever's on Facebook going back and forth. I love you. Come over to YouTube or Twitch. We miss you. Matthew McConaughey announced that he will not be running for Texas governor. I honestly think he could have beaten the Texas governor, but I don't think I would have been a person to vote for him. Now it was between him and Governor Abbott or the dude that gets on a skateboard and said he's going to take everyone's guns. What's his name? Oh, Beto O'Rourke. I'll pick Matthew McConaughey, but I'd probably just write myself in because we saw what happened when a celebrity jumps into the whole entire thing. All right. Yeah. How did I forget to say that? All right. I'm just curious to know, what do you got? I don't, because there's word about The Rock wanting to join the political race. The Rock wants to run for president. I don't know if celebrities, I don't know his politics. I don't know where he stands on certain ideas and issues. I know he had a talk show where he talked to a few black people and he felt like he was cultured. Those type of people scare me because he thinks he knows, but he has no idea. I think that's a famous line. And now we make it to my favorite part within the things I forgot to tell you last week, the Herman Cain Award. For all you don't know, Herman Cain is a black conservative Republican who loved Trump so much that he was willing to die for him. What do I mean by this? He was willing to literally die for him. Clap it up for that. Where's my clap? There it is. He died a few days after going to a Trump rally, no mask, no testing, no nothing. And he died a fool in my eyes. But since that's happened, my way of coping with people woefully throwing their lives away has been to introduce these dumbasses to you guys. So let's start. Vegan, who died of COVID, begged for vaccine after refusing it due to animal testing. Could you imagine? Foregoing a life-saving treatment because an animal who has no concept of you was used to test on this? Furthermore, the mRNA vaccine, I don't know if it had animal testing, but if you know the testing went through, you've got to know that you're an idiot for not taking it. A 54-year-old man who recently died of COVID-19 regretted his decision not to get vaccinated because he's vegan. What is a vegan? Does that just mean you don't... Wait, hold on. My nose is about to start bleeding. Being a vegan means you just don't eat meat, right? So what the fuck do you care about testing? So he's like an animal lover. I used to know a girl who didn't like eating beef because she liked cows. Like she thought cows were like pets, but she never lived on a farm. And I always thought that was weird because I always want my steak medium well. Not medium well, medium rare. I always mix those up. But the waiters always know what I meant. A little pink in the middle. Makes it good. But yeah. What's this dude's name? Jylan? You don't consume anything animal related or byproducts. So you can't like drink milk, you can't eat eggs. The vaccine had none of those things. So he died. This dude died for nothing.
Glen Steele.
Glen Steele died of COVID-19 just weeks after being placed in an intensive care unit. And in the intensive care unit at the hospital, according to GoFundMe. Why do these people always start a GoFundMe? I'm tired of these people starting GoFundMe. I'm going to start a GoFundMe. That was set up for his funeral. His wife, Emma, told the Sun that her husband begged for the vaccine before he went on life support. But by then, it was too late to inoculate him. The last thing Glenn said to me was, I have never felt so ill. Oh, my goodness. Oh. I just can't. But, hey, that's how the cookie crumble. But hey, we're not done. A police officer dies of COVID-19 after missing vaccination deadline. So, Officer Jack, his end of watch was November 6th. Yo, your end of watch wasn't November 6th. Your end of watch was approximately 2 weeks prior to you dying when you probably got infected with COVID. That's when you made the myopic decision to end your watch. And not only your watch, your lifeline. COVID-19 is killing cops at the greater rate than gang violence, than car accidents, than drug overdose. Like, name anything. COVID-19 is killing cops faster. And we keep trying to make feel-good sob stories about this in San Francisco. Like, you're in a liberal place. In Facebook post, police confirmed 47-year-old Officer Jack, a 17-year veteran of the San Francisco Police Department, died November 6th. His wife, Melissa, told San Fran Chronicles that her husband tested positive for COVID-19 4 days before his death. Holy shit. If you just comply, you won't die. Who'd have thought it'd be true for cops too? And our last story. Dave Chappelle, you know you've jumped the shark when your name is Dave Chappelle and you're a world-renowned comedian, storyteller, and you decide because a bunch of trans people are hurting your feelings and people are calling you a bad man, you go to your old high school and try and compel the school to change the theater's name to your name. Not buy them a new one. Just simply rename the current one in the school. Dave Chappelle, yo, you might be on your last legs. Like, I know they said that you can't cancel Dave Chappelle, but you can definitely make him irrelevant. You can definitely make him cringy. And this is so cringy because he then had like a Q&A. And obviously, the exact quote from the article is, one student reportedly told Dave Chappelle he was a bigot before saying, "I'm 16 and I think you're childish. You handled it like a child." A rep for Dave Chappelle did not respond to a request for comments. Like, look, God, people, like, I think, like, after 10 years, you can't go back to your high school unless it's like a reunion or you're invited. But, like, this is kind of cringy. Dave Chappelle is definitely fallen from grace in my eyes. But, hey, that's just my opinion on some stories. That's just how I feel about some things. I'm more interested in knowing what you think about all this stuff, right? Clap it up. We made it to the end of the show. And I want to know what you guys think about this. Is there something that I forgot to tell you guys? Is something you want to tell me? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. Y'all know the whole routine. This is the things we forgot to tell you last week. You're on the Identity Group. My name is Heero. I'll see you guys in a little bit. We're going to get into the next segment. Nafi, what are you doing?
But it's so hard to find through the daily grind. Been working overtime. And I'm sleep deprived. Shorty on my line and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night. Don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down and we can